Burton Park has become a fortress this season, and these fans are used to the sight of big clubs coming a cropper here. Liverpool, Arsenal and Villa among them, to say nothing of Chelsea in the last round. John Sheridan has been a League Cup winner, striking the Wembley goal by which Sheffield Wednesday beat Manchester United in 1991, and he's been granted permission to play for Bolton while on loan from Wednesday. Colin Todd has an abundance of riches to choose from, especially in midfield, so there's no room for recently acquired Jamie Pollock. McGinley and Blake are the sharpest shooters in Division 1, with 26 goals between them already. Chris Armstrong has happy recent memories of this ground. He struck the winner in Spurs' 3-2 triumph in March. He was once a striking partner for McGinley at Millwall. Just one change made by Jerry Francis after Sunday's defeat. Alan Nielsen picked up a knee injury. Jason Dizelle takes over in the centre of midfield. And Teddy Sheringham starts the night, having already scored 19 goals in the competition. I don't know if Tottenham regard this as a good omen, but Paul Danson from Leicester was in charge of their second round tie against Preston, which they won 3-0 at White Hart Lane. And Jerry Francis has said in the build-up to this match that the Coca-Cola Cup has become vital to their season. It's probably Spurs' likeliest option of a route into Europe. They're currently in 9th place in the Premier League. Bolton, top of Division 1, of course. And with a wonderful record here of 10 wins and 2 draws and not a single defeat. In fact, Southampton were the last side to win here in the last Premier League game in the season which Bolton were relegated. Here is David Lee. And the first free kick awarded against Darren Anderton. Jerry Francis on the left of the picture there, on the extreme end next to Roger Cross. Game is all about pace. Combating on that occasion, throwing for Bolton Wanderers. Phillips into Blake. This is where Blake is dangerous. Turns his man superbly, whips it across, and it comes off the defender and out for the corner for Bolton, the first of the night. He's so sharp on the turn, the Welsh international. And when the ball is knocked into him here by Phillips, look how he turns around Calderwood, but Campbell is in the way. Bolton send up both the centre-backs here, Taggart and Fairclough, to supplement the aerial power of Blake and McGinley. And it's in here, and it's Taggart, and it's in from McGinley! And Bolton in front. John McGinley yet again, he can do no wrong at the moment. A rich ovation around Burton Park, and what a fillip for the First Division side. The perfect corner kick taken by Scott Sellers. The first person to go for it was Taggart. McGinley perfectly stationed, thank you very much. It's a well manoeuvred corner kick. Taggart might well have scored, McGinley made sure. A rather scything challenge this time. It's Fairclough, and the former Spurs defender Chris Fairclough was rather irate obviously there, and yet he was clearly the offender on Armstrong. Now let's have a look and see what incensed him so much. He clearly went through Armstrong. So Wilson knocking it up towards Sheringham. It was Fairclough ironically who got it away, but there was a handball on the just outside the area by Sheridan. So Tottenham with a chance here, having had virtually no opportunities beforehand. Just as it comes out here, look at Sheridan, looking on the top of the shoulder really. He feels a little aggrieved by the decision, but Mr. Danson was in good position. The thing is now that Bolton have pulled everybody behind the ball, all 11. Sheringham we've seen curl them in from this sort of range before. Had a little dummy run. Well, how Spurs could do with an equaliser, and it will have been gifted to them if they get it. Is that wall 10 yards away, I ask myself. Anyway, it's going to be Sheringham, and he gets it through, and it's a goal! Beautifully executed, Teddy Sheringham. What a classic strike from the England man, and Sheringham strikes and does it again for Spurs, as he's done so often. As it just clipped off the top of the head, but it scarcely deflected the ball. And it's a perfect free kick from Sheringham, 1-1. As Scott Sellers picks it up. Sheridan, two former Leeds players playing together. Here's another one in Fairclough. Bergson is the former Spur, of course. Touched on by Lee. He evaded Wilson's challenge, and here's Lee again. He's promised much tonight and still not able quite to deliver, but he does get the shot on the mark. Walker spreading himself well. And the referee's coming in for a bit of stick at the moment, but we see that Lee shot again, which was well covered by Walker. I think the crowd felt that Lee had been hacked down a moment or two earlier and that Bolton should have had a free kick. So Bolton back in possession. By general consent, Bolton have been the most impressive side in the First Division this season. They've already scored 42 goals. It took them until March last season to get that many, and they've won themselves a corner out of Wilson's back header. And Sellers, they've scored from one of his corners, but that's not a great one. He can have another go. Maybe third time lucky for Sellers. This time it's a better delivery. Oh, he's struggling his Walker. McGinn is there again to take advantage. And Bolton back in front with this redoubtable Scott. What a hero this man is to Bolton fans. But Ian Walker rather flapped at this one. He's the culprit, you have to say. Taggart put him off. McGinley's there to punish him again. So both goals for Bolton have come from Sellers' corners, with Taggart instrumental and with the execution of McGinley. Well, he's got a great record in this competition, John McGinley, but a disconsolate Ian Walker, who knows that he allowed Taggart to distract him. Free kick against Anderton. Well, they've only got Blake and McGinley up on the edge of the area, so no point in just hitting hopeful long balls up there. It's not the Bolton style, nor was that really. And that's the end of a rip-roaring first half. If anyone should be thinking that Bolton were the underdogs for this tie as a First Division side, they should remember it's only last year, just 18 months ago, that they reached the final and lost 2-1 at Wembley to Liverpool. So we start the second half without any substitutions. Wilson forward, well met by Fairclough. And then Anderton knocks the ball here for Howells, and the clip is straight into Brannigan's arms. To Blake. This is where he loves to attack from, and he'll hit a shot too, and it's a good one. It steeples over the top of the crossbar, but that's typical Nathan Blake. Very left-footed, loves to have a crack. And there was nothing else in his mind here but to try and add to his goal tally for the season. Trying to repel this Spurs raid now, and it produces a corner. They're only 2-1 behind, remember, and they have this corner. Can they do to Bolton what the Lancashire side did to them? Well, not for the time being. The ball's still with Spurs and with Wilson. Writes the challenge well, Sinton. Here's the cross, straight forward header, what a miss, Jason Dizelle. Virtually the whole net to aim at, and Jason Dizelle puts it wide. Well, what an agonising miss this is for Spurs, and I wonder at the end of the night if it will prove to be so costly for them. What a chance for Dizelle, what a miss. Phillips. Sellers for McGinley, on towards play. Still McGinley. Excellent skill from the Scot. He's here again. There's the ball in. The clinical finisher for number 3. McGinley had worked so hard and they swapped roles. Taggart the scorer. McGinley the provider, and who rises to meet the cross for the big Irishman? What can Tottenham produce by way of response? Anderton wins a corner. Can Calderwood do to Bolton what Taggart did to Tottenham? Anderton with the corner kick. How Tottenham need a swift response. It's away, scramble off the line, and back in and over the top. It was Howells who put in the initial effort, and Campbell was up there trying for the finish, for the coup de grace, but Anderton's corner was a good one. There was Howells' effort. Back off the line to Campbell, who hooks it just over. Good effort though from Sol Campbell. Bolton in consummate control and rolling the ball in here for Nathan Blake. They're hoping for a fourth. He cuts it in. McGinley on the charge, and it was just too far. Penalty's given though. Penalty given. Carr protests his innocence, but Bolton have a chance to wrap it all up here now. Well, Blake had rolled the ball across. Carr's the defender coming in with McGinley. Well, McGinley wasn't going to get there, and Mr. Danson says that that's a push. Well, Carr feels badly done to, and John McGinley has the chance of striking a hat-trick. If this goes in, I fancy Bolton going to the last 8. They're surely going through now. Hat-trick for John McGinley. Well, they love their team here. They've conquered so many of the big guns, and I think you can add the name of Tottenham Hotspur to the list now. Smacked into the corner, it's the perfect penalty. And it's the perfect night for him too. That's not a bad ball. Sinton will be beaten to it by Bergson. I'm sure he's revelled in it, the Bolton captain. This is his old club. Ball in there for Sheridan. McGinley surging through the middle. Sheridan instead pops it into Blake. The only amazing thing is Blake hasn't scored yet. He has now. 5 for Bolton. Walker beaten again. And it really is a night of sheer delight for Bolton Wanderers. They have destroyed the Premier League side, and Blake so deserves his goal. Wrapped into the corner, and that's a striker's finish. His 13th of the season, but it's a lucky 13th. And Bolton are embarrassing Tottenham. And now Bolton will aim to make this triple substitution. And what a roar there will be for the retreating heroes, who include the hat-trick man McGinley. He's certainly done his job. So has Thompson here. Sheridan is the other withdrawn player. There's Branson. Signed from Copenhagen. Scott Taylor, former Millwall player, and Andy Todd, son of the manager. So the family having a great night. Hasn't finished yet either. Bexon doesn't believe it, but it is against him. And that's why Sinton looked like 6 or 1.5 a dozen of the other, but there was definitely a foul somewhere then. Here's Cranston now. Just knocked it too far ahead of himself, but it's picked up again. Todd into Blake, who's led the line superbly, really has. Lee just able to keep the ball in play. Swings it in here. Could be done! Might still be there all over the place. He's only been on the field for 60 seconds, and Scott Taylor wraps in another one. That's 6. Well, he's a London boy, signed from Millwall, and up here last year he scored twice for Millwall against Everton. Tonight he's been on the field 60 seconds. He gets the bounce of the ball off Carr, wraps it through the legs of Ian Walker, and Scott Taylor has completed Spurs' humiliation. Fortune certainly favoured him, but he took it, and it's 6. And Lee wants to take on Wilson. He cuts it back in here. Taylor controls it on the edge of the 6-yard area. Will come back here, and it nearly went flashing in again as Todd got in the shot. He's a dead ringer for his dad, isn't he? And he was who got the shot in to win the corner. David Lee on the outside of Wilson cuts the ball back in here. Taylor controls it, and under duress from the 2 defenders knocks it back to Todd, and it flew out off Carr. It's gone in! Surely that went all the way in, didn't it? It looked to me as though that ball crossed the line. And if it has, it's a goal for Scott Sellers on his birthday, but the referee says not. Well, now should it have been 7? Sellers' ball here, and it's there. Oh, I would have thought that's over the line. And indeed, Tottenham retreat to the sanctuary of their dressing room, slaughtered here by irresistible Bolton, led by their star Scott, again John McGinley, who's plundered a hat-trick against the Premier League side. And Jerry Taggart was a real force that they never managed to counteract, and he got a deserved goal as well. Nathan Blake helped himself to one, and even the substitute Scott Taylor got one as well. A night for those young fans to remember for the rest of their lives, because they have destroyed Tottenham Hotspur. It's Bolton 6, Tottenham 1.